Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video I wanted to go over some things that I've mentioned in the past in other videos, but judging from a lot of the comments on some of my more recent videos, I think maybe it's time for some review. People do not tend to watch older videos, and I don't really blame them. Who knows if the information is still accurate or what, but this stuff is pretty important, and may be overlooked by many newer or returning players. So I thought I would cover a few things that I hope will help a great deal with the success people see while playing the game. So let's just get into it. So the first and most important thing I need to say is, do not ever buy tier 5 materials. Ever. You are paying 5 times or even 10 times the value when you are. The reason I feel like this is important to talk about right now is because, much like early on in the game's life, people are once again starting to make comments like, so I did the math and for 10k infused leather, I would need roughly 750k rawhide. This is nowhere close to accurate. In New World, you can't simply reverse math on tier 5 materials to figure things out. The best way I can explain it is by showing you. So I farmed rawhide till I got 10k, which took me roughly an hour and 10 minutes. Now, I already have a huge stock of thick and ironhide, but I will not be using more than it takes to process the 10k rawhide. So what we are looking at is roughly 2 to 3 hours farming here in materials, maybe even less if you're uncontested. So, let's look at each stage of the refining process and I will explain why this is crazy and you should never buy tier 5 materials. And also why when I say how much I farm and how much time, it may seem to you guys impossible, when in reality, it's very simple. So first, I turn my rawhide into coarse leather. I receive my 2500 expected coarse leather, along with 960 bonus. This bonus just created 3840 rawhide out of thin air that I didn't farm. Next, let's turn our coarse into rugged. And I got the expected 865 rugged plus 972 bonus. This bonus now created an additional 15,552 rawhide from thin air once again that I didn't have to farm. And now the layered. Here I am making 919, which will take 5,514 thick hide. Just to be clear, because I have extra on hand, and I just wanted my invested materials to be explained. And I got the expected 919 layered leather, plus an additional 572 bonus. So once again, I have just created from thin air 18,304 rawhide, and this time also 3,432 thick hide. And finally, let's make our 745 infused leather, which for clarity will take 5,960 ironhide, and we got the expected 745 infused, plus an additional 261 bonus, creating once again 16,704 rawhide, 3,132 thick hide, and 2,088 ironhide out of thin air. So because we farmed our materials instead of buying tier 5, we farmed for roughly 3 hours, and we invested 10,000 rawhide, 5,514 thick hide, and 5,960 ironhide. But after processing, we got in reality 64,400 rawhide, 12,078 thick, and 8,048 ironhide worth of infused leather. So you see, when I say I farm my own infused leather, don't try to reverse math it and say it is impossible, because it takes X amount of rawhide that can't be farmed. When processing, only an hour's worth of rawhide produced 65k rawhide. People lose out on so much free material simply by thinking it's easier to just buy it. This is why some people struggle with coin, and those who understand the refining system do not. This applies to all refining, smelting, stone cutting, anything. So as you can see, when you require large amounts of tier 5 materials, you are horribly undercutting yourself by simply buying them. Refining your own will provide you with much more for much less investment. The next tip I wanted to share is something I've mentioned many times before, but I will mention it again, and that is split stat foods. There is no reason to use expensive single stat foods, but people tend to be short-sighted. If you use turkey thigh and pan gravy, for example, you get the same plus 40 attributes, but simply have to place a few points in a few different places while doing your build. But it's really simple, and will save you thousands of gold in food. A simple thing like this will save you a ton of coin over time. The next thing I think is very important is a little trick while gathering crops, meat, berries, or simply moving water. This works especially well at low level, and that is using your consumable bar. Anytime I gather corn, meat, anything like that, I always put it on my consumable bar instead of in my inventory. The reason I do this is because I can then sit in a cornfield or whatever for hours while watching a show or something and gather till whenever I'm done. The stuff on this bar has no weight and can stack up to 10,000. And water? Carrying water in your consumable bar is a must when making potions, or if you're out at your camp farming territory standing making alkahest, because you can just farm 10k, throw it in your action bar, and forget it. And a little tip about water in your action bar that not many new players know is that it provides you with a small overtime heal when you click it. Granted, it is small, only 20 HP per second. However, this does stack with your food heal. And when you are leveling, mid to low level, this is amazing, because 20 HP per second means a lot when you only have a few hundred or a few thousand HP. Just a little tip for you new players out there. I can't tell you how handy I find this when I'm leveling new characters. It can mean the difference between whether you kill the quest boss or not solo when you're leveling. So guys, utilize your consumable bar. It saves you a ton of time in running around. And the next thing that I think is a really important thing to do is once again related to refining, and that is farming low level breaches. When you are max level, you can easily solo level 25 breaches, regular or greater, and it takes almost no time, less than a couple minutes per breach. When doing this, you will get corrupted splinters and corrupted fragments in pretty large supply, and you want these. I also have active buy orders for 200 to 500 corrupted slivers on the market for 1 coin per at all times, that get filled regularly because people simply overlook the value these contain. You see, applying the same principle I showed you earlier with the leather, you can also turn these low tier slivers into massive profit. An important thing here though is to farm yourself the stonecutter set, which I have made a guide to all of the sets and linked in the description, or you could simply buy it. I mean really, the amount the pieces cost versus the amount of time you'll invest farming it, you may be better off just buying it. The choice is yours though, but once you have it, you can do pretty amazing things. Watch here as I have upgraded these slivers that I've gathered over the last couple days. I got some of these farming and some from buy orders, but the total value is roughly 3,500 coins, being generous. With all of the bonuses I get during the upgrading process, I ended up with 23 corrupted lodestones, which is nice. And I sold these lodestones for 1,100 coin each fairly quickly, making 25,300 coin. You see, people overlook far too often that if something is worth X coin, and I farm 1,000 of it, then while processing I create a bonus equaling 500 more, I have without doing anything created an additional 500 items worth coin out of thin air. The next great tip comes from one of my amazing Patreon members, and that is to use the market to level armoring or weaponsmithing skill, both to hit 200 or to grind aptitude. This is something I have actually done in the past, but had completely overlooked it for this video. So what you want to do is scour your market each day, more than once if you like, whenever you're in town, and look for epic armor, chests primarily, 590 plus, that is priced 30 coin or less. You will be surprised how many there actually are, pages and pages of them. Of course the perks etc. don't matter. And after you buy it, salvage it. This will then provide you with potential for perfect salvages for very little cost. And when a chest piece perfect salvages, it salvages to 3 per. So this can be an amazingly effective way to gain armoring experience. It is also great for weaponsmithing, although none give extra. If you can find weapons or shields for 30 coin or less, 590 plus, you will encounter the same effect. Perfect salvages quite often, giving weaponsmith fragments. And because the price of weaponsmith experience is so crazy high, this can be a great supplement to your leveling. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was some very, very important tools that will make your time in Eternum much more profitable, fun, and more productive. First, of course, on the list is New World Database, which I have linked in the description. This website is so amazing, and once you learn all of the ways you can use it, it becomes even more amazing. So first, let me show you how I research things whenever changes are made in the new patch, so that I can test things and make guides for you guys. So when a patch is released, I go to New World Database. Then of course I select Database, much like others have shown you in other videos when searching for gear. But then I click up here, Added in Patch, and I choose the patch. So let's click Brimstone Sands as an example. Then let's go to Weapons. So you can see this is listing all of the weapons added or changed or moved in the Brimstone Sands patch. Now, what I was researching was new solo drops for my video series I was making, so I could make a list of creatures I needed to farm to test these out. So I of course go down to 590 items, because that's what named items drop at now. Oh, and see these little icons here? These mean it's a quest item or crafted, etc. So for now, we will ignore these items. So let's click Eater of Souls here. And we scroll down, and now we see who drops it. The same method can be used to see the gear that comes from new mutations, like the new Cross Expedition mutation currently on PTR. So for this, we will go to the main page and click PTR. Now this time, what we are looking for is gear crafted. Then when we mouse over it, you see any gear crafted using mutator materia and Amrine and Starstone materia, and that will allow you to make a list of the new gear and who drops it. Amazing, right? As you become more comfortable using this website, you will find that it is simply endless the ways that you can use it to better your experience in game, increase your understanding and knowledge about the game, and be able to predict potential market changes coming to the game by knowing what's coming and what you will need it for. Another great tool I wanted to share are the New World resource maps. Now there are a few out there, which I've linked in the description. I like all of them for different reasons, and I use all of them for different things. But what's important is, these will show you where quest givers are located, event resources, explorer notes, just about anything you can think of. So use these. They work especially well for creating farming routes, chest runs. Honestly, I can't live without them anymore. And the final tool I wanted to share is the crafting calculator. This tool is amazing for new players who want to try to level any trade skill and want an idea of the best way to do it. You can import your server's prices and select what level you are and what level you want to achieve, and it will tell you exactly what to make and how many to make. Now I will say here, it is limited. It isn't always correct on the best ways, but what I find is the most amazing thing about it is it gives you an idea of how much work you have to do, what you should be doing, and how to plan your crafting progression. This tool is simply amazing, and the work that goes into it is so valuable. I have of course also linked it in the description. So guys, that's a few tips and tools I hope help you moving forward if you are a new or a veteran player. I truly hope these will be of use to you. If you have any questions or any other tips I may have missed, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.